Hello, this is Paul Harris from Colombia Gold Symposium, and joining me today is Raul Sanabria from Baroyeca Gold and Silver. Hi, Raul, how are you?
Hi, Paul. Hi, thanks for having me here.
Baroyeca Gold and Silver is a relatively new company. It's got a couple of exploration projects in Colombia, but Raul has a lot of experience in Colombia. He's been active here for many, many years. So Raul, why don't we start off talking a little bit about your background, your experience in Colombia, and then talk about Baroyeca, how you came to form that company.
Well, yeah. Well, let me introduce myself. I'm a geologist by training, PGO. I've been doing geology for the past 20 years and 15 in Canada. I've been involved in projects in Cordillera, but because I'm originally from Spain and I did my degree in Spain, I speak the language. It's very easy for me to enter in Latin America. Colombia, I started in 2010 when we got our first opportunity. The market was really hot for Colombia, and I started privately with a company called Condor Precious Metals, which I founded. We got a project in Cali, another one which is currently the Santa Ana project that is being developed by a third party. We sold the project to them, and then I've been engaged with other companies evaluating opportunities, evaluating mines. And I even ended up being the chief geologist for Red Eagle Mining, which was a big company in 2015, 16, 17. So that's a little bit of my background in Colombia.
Thank you. And you've actually presented at the Colombia Gold Symposium in past years, I remember.
I did. It was on your first gold symposium in Medellin. I was presenting for Minera Beta's Red Eagle Exploration, the Beta's project.
That was what, 5 or 6 years ago now. So yeah. Okay. Well, Baroyeca Gold, you started trading. You went public last year, I believe. Yeah. Tell us a little bit how that came together.
The company was a public company, which was a shell. So what we did last year was to take the assets and got some assets in the US. So we cleaned the shell, we rolled it back 10-1, and we enter into LOIs with a Canadian private company, Malabar Gold Corp, for 2 assets that we found exciting in Colombia. One in Bolivar, southern Bolivar, and the flagship property, which is the Atocha, which is in the core of the Santa Ana, Frias, El Porvenir Silver District, that now is put back in the map.
Okay, thank you. Now let's sort of dig a bit deeper into the projects now. Atocha, obviously a very famous name. Atocha is the name of a very famous Spanish shipwreck. And I believe that shipwreck was containing some gold from the area where your project is. So tell us a little bit about that area. It's a very famous historical area in Tolima in Colombia.
Well, the shipwreck was more famous in silver than actually gold. Some silver bars from Peru, but some silver bars from Colombia, and obviously it is from the Santa Ana mining district. So the project was privately held for about 10 years. I was part of the company and was holding the properties to 2,600 hectares right in the core of Santa Ana and Frias. But the beauty of the project is a large square block, and it hasn't been historically mined. So we know all the colonial mines around. So as a former owner of the Santa Ana project in Falan to the north, and I drilled those holes at the colonial mine, and I did all the first reconnaissance on the property, we realized of the potential, but also Tolima is environmentally sensitive and is also town. So what makes the Atocha project really attractive, besides its exceptional geological setting, is that we don't have towns in it. It's a large property, and it stays right in the middle of a structural corridor, which if we get into the details of vein and some mineralization, this is where we think the most of the potential of exploration stays on that particular property. The density of veins, the length of the veins, the vast amount of veins that we're seeing there, and it hasn't been historically mined. So all the mines are surrounding it, but our veins are fully exposed at surface, and we got grades of the 2-3% silver, which translates into 2-3 kilos per ton silver, and that's right at surface.
The Spanish were very active there, as you mentioned. So why wasn't this particular area historically mined? Is the mineralization undercover, or what's the reason, do you think?
No, the Spaniards were there in the 1500s and the 1600s, and they came with very rudimentary tools. So they just found the veins. All the exposures are found right in the creeks, and they mined what they saw right at surface. The big development in the area was done by the British. They came in the 1800s, and I think the last mine that was free has operated until 1902. And that's what we actually see when we get to the colonial mines. British were always following the Spaniards on all the buildings, roads, stamp mills, tunnels. Everything that is left is from the British period. I don't know why they didn't get into the property, in our property. But the fact of the matter is the veins are exposed as good or better than on these other places.
Okay, I mean, that's a great start for your flagship project. So what's your plan there for exploration for this year and going into next year?
Well, right now, we got geologists on the ground. We kicked off our exploration season last month. I just came back from Colombia. I'm just in connection to Vancouver while we're talking. And we got 4 years on the ground. We got prospectors. We are starting a comprehensive geological mapping, structural mapping. We completed LiDAR on the property 2 months ago. So we got a great detail base for structural interpretation. That is the basis of our approach. We got a large regional satellite DEM with 20 meter pixels, but now we got 8 centimeter pixel on our LiDAR, 3 centimeters accuracy. So every subtle feature that we see on the surface that we know there's a vein associated, we can follow. And actually, just in 1 week that we have been there following some of those indicators, we found 3 more veins. So it's so we got our information, but we need to put all the structural model together. So we know where there's some mineralization at surface. We know where there's some high grade, but how do we know that this is the best part for drilling? Because once we start drilling, one thing is hard to stay away and thinking that what you want to drill next is better what you're drilling now. So what we want to take our time and to be comprehensive also with soil geochemistry, find anomalies in unexposed area that follow our model. And then once we found those anomalies, dig some more. But right now we got a dozen drill ready targets that we can drill directly from existing roads. So the accessibility is one of the key aspects also of this project.
Excellent. So it sounds like you're making sort of quick progress or rapid progress. When do you think you'll be able to start drilling, or that you want to start drilling?
We are currently applying for the drill permits. So we want to get water licenses, and those are actually being worked out. But if we bring the water by other means, we can start next week if we want to. But as I said, we want to be very clear on the targets. My initial thoughts are to start in August with drilling. By that time, we should have our Laje vein system, which is where we're starting, or Veta Grande. We want to have like clear locations, clear drill paths, and make sure that the first holes are just pure hits.
Okay, an August start for drilling would mean presumably that you'd get results out just in time to present at Colombia Gold Symposium in November this year.
I hope so. Well, I hope so.
Okay, well, let's change track a little bit. Atocha's the flagship project, but you also mentioned you've got Santa Barbara in Bolivar. Now, Bolivar is another area of Colombia that's got a huge gold potential. Tell us a little bit more about that project and what your plan is, what you're doing there.
Well, the other project is located in the Serranía de San Lucas. By many people, they think this is one of the richest and more prolific gold belts in Colombia. It has other challenges that we don't find in central Colombia. So accessibility is, I wouldn't say more complicated. It's not that remote. We got road access to the property. We got power on the property. And privately, we've been on the property for 5 years. We believe in the area. And we know that other Canadian companies that tried to get into Bolivar, they all ran away for one out of the reasons. The market crashed. But we got title. And what we identified is a really tight cluster of parallel veins. We got like 8 vein systems in really short distance. And the exploration, what we want to do is, instead of starting by drilling, we want to continue with the works of the previous operator, which is an exploratory tunnel. The exploratory tunnel is giving us a lot of information on the distribution of the mineralization within a mineralized chute. If we do drilling, we're just restricted to intercepts. But if we can do continuous sampling, which is the ideal, then we know the exact distribution of the gold. And that's what we're doing. We're doing bulk sampling. We're taking an industrial size 500-ton bulk sample. And as part of the deal with the vendor, with Malabar Gold Corp, we are purchasing pilot processing plant. Is custom built for 30 tons a day. Is fully operational. Is brand new. We're doing the final adjustments, and we're gonna bank on all the information on metallurgy, recovery methods, all to benefit also from non-dilutive cash flow for our shareholders by means of processing the bulk sample, and that will keep all the overhead in Colombia being paid just from the bulk sample. And right now the tunnel is 150 meters long. We started a crosscut to access 2 parallel veins that will give us 2 more mine phases, and we can do parallel or separate bulk samples, one for each individual vein. Now the main Santa Barbara tunnel, we can drill underneath. We know the grades. We got channel samples in excess of 100 grams per ton gold, which is numbers to consider. And the average grades on our channel samples that are in our 43101 report, so every shareholder can go and read it, are over 1 ounce per ton for the entirety length of the Santa Barbara chute in the tunnel. So now we are processing the bulk sample to see what will be the dilution with some of the wall rock that we can get in, and then what will be the recoveries. So we're really excited about that project, and also having 8 parallel vein systems in such a short distance with those grades. That reminds me Baroyeca when they started in 2008. They got a few veins, and this is a forward-looking statement. I want to be clear with that. But the first resource estimate was in excess of 1.5 million ounces, and I think we're in a reasonable comparison. We got the same size of veins, we got the same size of widths, and we got same number of grades, widths, and number of veins, and we can easily put something together in a short time. So that's we're really excited about that project as well.
Okay, so it sounds like you've got a lot to do on both projects. So what would you say are the sort of key milestones and goals for this year? What would you like to achieve this year?
At Atocha, we want to be aggressive. We know there's a big number of veins. It's silver. It's a great market for silver, and we can rapidly develop some of those vein systems with 2-3 rigs, and we won't be able to come with a resource estimate really quickly, but we can start untapping the potential of the property. The property is big. It's 2,500 hectares, and we got veins in over 60% of the property, and the other 40% remains non-explored, not even walked. So we know the veins are there, and that size of the property almost gets a property in that district size, because it's huge. It's huge. So on that, and the property not being mined, not being previously explored by any modern or old exploration, is totally grassroots. So the potential is infinite on that project. So we want to advance as aggressive and as fast as we can.
Okay, your timing seems to be very good. As you mentioned, the silver price is moving up nicely, the gold price is moving up nicely, and Colombia is very much coming back onto the exploration development map. There's been a handful of new companies launching on going public on the back of properties in Colombia. You raised a little bit of money a few months ago. So what's the plans at the corporate level in terms of perhaps a future financial raise to help fund some of this exploration and the future drilling?
Yeah, we closed a $2 million financing in December, and that was a requirement to close the transaction. It was considered a material acquisition, so the exchange asked us to complete a proper $2 million financing, and asked for disinterested shareholder approval. So we got 100% of the disinterested shareholders approving this transaction on December. We got the exchange approval in February, and after that we raised 1.7 million at 30 cents a share. So in the short long and the short is we raised 4 million in 6 months. We secured property payments with the vendors for the first round. We are committing to the exploration. We are capitalized. We got just under $2 million right now in the till, and they can be allocated to drilling the Atocha right away. We can start a first drill program. But what we want to do is to go bigger on Atocha. Now we know the potential of Atocha, so we want to raise the whole idea of the company. We want to raise 5 to 10 million at a higher price. We're starting our marketing. So now is a perfect opportunity is a unique opportunity to shareholders to get positioned at a really early stage in a company with all this exploration potential. And on Santa Barbara, some of the use of those proceeds will be to continue developing the underground workings, to start 2 or 3 more exploratory tunnels, adequate the plant to absorb all that in different batches for bulk samples that we can also develop, work on environmental licenses, and we got possible acquisitions of additional properties that we have in the target. So we want to secure some capital if the opportunity comes, be able to lock ourselves into other opportunities, expand our land position, and become a big explorer in Colombia.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like there's going to be a lot of news out of Baroyeca as the year progresses. So hopefully we'll be able to catch up again at some point in the near future as things progress. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. So Raul Sanabria, thank you very much for joining us today on Colombia Gold Symposium. And stay tuned on our YouTube channel for more Colombia Gold interviews.